And me? I'm busy running my division, dating my partner, living my best life. The life I built while he slept. The life I earned while he doubted me. The life I secured while he dismissed me. The life he'll never have. Because I'm the CEO now. And he's just the ex-husband who let me go. His loss. My gain. Forever. Do we have a deal? I thought about it. 70% ownership. My own company. My escape plan. Yes, we have a deal. I signed the partnership agreement on September 1st, 2020. Zhang Technologies invested $2 million to start. We formed a company, OptiHome Technologies. I was CEO and primary shareholder at 70%. Zhang Technologies held 30%. For the next 4 years, September 2020 to December 2024, I built OptiHome in secret. Marcus never knew. I told him I'd joined a book club, that I was volunteering, that I was taking yoga classes. He didn't care where I was as long as dinner was ready when he got home. 3 days a week, I went to the OptiHome office, a small space Zhang Technologies provided. I hired a team, 5 engineers, 2 designers, 1 business developer. We built the product, refined the AI, tested it in model homes. By 2022, we were ready to launch. We started with a pilot program, 50 homes in Seattle. The results were incredible. Average energy savings, 32%. Customer satisfaction, 97%. By 2023, we went national. We partnered with 3 major home builders. OptiHome came standard in new construction. We installed systems in 5,000 homes. By 2024, we were scaling internationally. Contracts with builders in Canada, UK, Australia. We installed systems in 15,000 homes. Revenue hit $47 million. And Marcus had no idea. He thought I was at yoga. In December 2024, Zhang Technologies approached me with an offer. Catherine, we want to buy OptiHome outright. Not just our 30%. The whole company. We'll pay you $240 million. You'll stay on as president of the smart home division. Salary, $850,000 a year. Plus stock options. $240 million. For the company I'd built while my husband slept. While he thought I was worthless. I thought about it for 1 day. Then accepted. The sale closed on December 20th, 2024. I received $168 million for my 70% stake after taxes and fees. Zhang Technologies received $72 million for their 30% stake. Everyone won. On December 20th, 2024, I became worth $168 million. And Marcus had no idea. I didn't tell him. I didn't change anything. I kept cooking his dinners, cleaning his house, attending his boring networking events, pretending to be the housewife he thought I was, because I was planning, waiting for the right moment, building my exit. On December 23rd, 2024, Marcus came home and said, "Catherine, I want a divorce." I looked up from the kitchen where I was making his dinner. "What?" "I've met someone else. Jessica. She's 28. Works at my office. We've been seeing each other for 6 months. I want to marry her. So I need you to agree to a divorce." I felt nothing. No pain. No anger. Just relief. He was doing the work for me. "Okay." He looked surprised. "Okay. That's it. What do you want me to say?" "I thought you'd cry or beg or..." "You want to divorce me. I'll agree. Let's get it done." Fine. I'll have my lawyer draw up papers. You can get your own lawyer. We'll split assets. This should be quick and easy. Quick and easy. For him. Because he thought I had nothing. On December 27th, I received the divorce papers. Marcus's lawyer had itemized all our marital assets. The house, $940,000. His investment portfolio, $1.2 million. His business, valued at $550,000. Cars, savings, everything, total of $2.3 million. His offer, I get $1,800 a month in alimony for 3 years, $64,800 total. He keeps everything else. His reasoning, Mrs. Bennet has not worked during the marriage. She has contributed no income to the household. She has no career prospects. She is entitled to spousal support, but not to marital assets she did not help acquire. I read it and laughed. Out loud. Alone in my car. Laughed until I cried. Because in the filing, Marcus had listed my net worth as $0. He had no idea about Optihome. No idea about the $168 million sitting in my private accounts. No idea I'd been working for 4 years building a company worth more than he'd ever make in his lifetime. And I didn't tell him. I didn't correct the filing. I let him believe I was worth nothing. Because I wanted to see his face when he found out the truth. I hired a lawyer. Told her everything. Showed her the Optihome documents. The sale agreement. The $168 million. She stared at me. Catherine, you're worth $168 million and is offering you $1,800 a month. Yes. We need to correct this filing immediately. We need to. No. I want you to accept his offer. What? Why? Because Optihome was built entirely outside the marriage. None of my work happened on his time or with his resources. I built it while he slept, with outside funding. He has no legal claim to it, and I want him to think he won. Then I want him to find out what I'm actually worth. After it's too late. My lawyer thought about it. You're right. The company is entirely separate property, built with separate funds. He'd have no claim. And if you want to accept his offer, I can make that happen. Do it. We accepted his terms. No negotiation. No fight. Just signed and agreed. Marcus's lawyer was shocked. Mrs. Bennet is agreeing to all terms? No modifications. Yes, my lawyer said. She just wants this to be over. Marcus was thrilled. Told his friends I'd been reasonable. That I knew my place. That I understood he deserved everything because he was the breadwinner. The divorce was finalized on January 15, 2025. 3:47 p.m. Courtroom 12. We sat across from each other. Marcus in his expensive suit looking smug. Me in a simple dress looking calm. The judge read the terms. Mr. Bennet receives all marital assets valued at $2.3 million. Mrs. Bennet receives spousal support of $1,800 per month for 3 years. Are these terms acceptable? Marcus, yes, Your Honor. Me, yes, Your Honor. Then by the power vested in me by the state of Washington, this marriage is dissolved. You're both free to go. Marcus smiled, shook his lawyer's hand, looked at me with something like pity. Good luck, Catherine. I hope you figure out what to do with your life. I said nothing, just gathered my papers, stood up, walked out of the courtroom. It was 4:02 p.m. when I walked out of the King County Courthouse. The sky was gray. Seattle in January. Cold. Raining lightly. I stood on the steps for a moment, breathed in the cold air, felt free for the first time in years. Marcus came out behind me with his lawyer. Jessica was there waiting. The 28-year-old girlfriend. She hugged him. How did it go? Perfect. It's done. She didn't fight anything. They stood there talking, laughing, planning their future, not even looking at me. At 4:04 p.m., exactly 2 minutes after I walked out, a black Mercedes-Maybach limousine pulled up to the curb. Sleek, expensive, the kind of car that makes people stop and stare. The driver got out, walked around, opened the rear door. I walked down the courthouse steps. Marcus watched me, confused. Jessica whispered something to him. I got into the limousine. Inside, Richard Zhang was waiting. Catherine, congratulations. How does it feel? Good. Really good. I thought you might want company for your first day of freedom. Also, we have the contracts for you to sign. You're officially president of Zhang Technologies' smart home division as of today. He handed me a folder. I opened it. My new contract. Position, president. Salary, $850,000 per year. Stock options worth an estimated $12 million over 4 years. Plus my $168 million from the OptiHome sale. I signed the contract right there in the limousine. Congratulations, Catherine. You've earned this. Thank you, Richard, for believing in me. For investing in OptiHome when I was just a housewife with an idea. You were never just a housewife. You were an engineer pretending to be a housewife. There's a difference. The driver closed the door, started the engine. We pulled away from the courthouse. I looked out the window. Marcus was standing on the steps, staring, his mouth open. Jessica was asking him something. His lawyer looked confused. I didn't wave, didn't smile, didn't acknowledge them. Just watched them get smaller as we drove away. Marcus called me that night, 6:47 p.m. I almost didn't answer, but I wanted to hear his voice. Wanted to hear him realize. Catherine. Hello, Marcus. What the hell was that? The limousine? Who was that man? Richard Zhang, CEO of Zhang Technologies. Why were you in a car with Richard Zhang? Is my business partner. Well, was. He just bought my company. Silence. Long silence. What company? OptiHome Technologies. I founded it in 2020. We just sold to Zhang Technologies for $240 million. I own 70%. Do the math. More silence. I could hear him breathing. Processing. You're lying. I'm not. Google it. OptiHome Technologies sale to Zhang Technologies. It was announced this morning. I heard him typing. Then silence. Then, it says here OptiHome was founded by Catherine Park. Not Catherine Bennett. Park is my maiden name. I used it for the company. I didn't want you to know. You built a company? While we were married. Yes. Ow. You were home. You were. I worked at night. While you slept. 3 days a week, I went to the office instead of yoga. You never asked where I was. You didn't care as long as dinner was ready. You can't do that. That company is marital property. I'm entitled to half. No, you're not. I built it entirely outside the marriage. Outside working hours. With outside funding. Zero marital resources. My lawyer confirmed it. You have no claim. The divorce is finalized. You got what you got. I got what I got. You lied to me. You hid this. I didn't lie. You never asked. You assumed I did nothing. You called me worthless. You said I contributed nothing to the marriage. You were wrong. I just didn't correct you. Catherine, we need to renegotiate. The divorce is finalized, Marcus. Signed. Sealed. Done. You got the house. You got the investments. You got the $2.3 million you thought made you rich. I got my $1,800 a month. We both agreed. The judge approved it. It's over. This is fraud. I'm calling my lawyer. Call whoever you want. You won't find anything. Opti Home is separate property. The sale happened after we separated. You have no legal claim. Goodbye, Marcus. I hung up, blocked his number, never spoke to him again. But I heard things. Through mutual friends. Through the news. Through the gossip chain. Marcus tried to sue for part of Opti Home. His lawyer filed a motion to reopen the divorce case. It was dismissed in March 2025. The judge ruled that Opti Home was separate property built with separate funds during non-marital hours with no marital contributions. Marcus had no claim. He tried to get the divorce overturned, claiming I'd hidden assets. It was dismissed. The judge ruled that I'd been under no legal obligation to disclose assets I'd acquired through separate work and funding. The divorce agreement was based on marital assets only. Opti Home wasn't marital property, so it didn't need to be disclosed. Marcus's business suffered. His reputation tanked. Word got out that his ex-wife, the housewife he'd dismissed, was actually worth $168 million and running a division of one of the biggest tech companies in America. His clients started questioning his judgment. If he couldn't see what his own wife was doing, how can he see good real estate deals? By June 2025, his business had lost 40% of its contracts. He was forced to sell his company for $300,000. Far less than the $550,000 valuation from the divorce. He and Jessica broke up in August 2025. Apparently, she'd been interested in his money. When she found out I'd taken most of it, in her mind, she left. Marcus is now 42, single, and worth about $800,000. Less than half of what he had during the divorce. I'm 38, running the smart home division of Zhang Technologies, worth $180 million, my original $168 million plus salary and stock options, and dating Richard Zhang. Not because he's a billionaire, but because he's the only man who ever saw me as more than a housewife. Richard and I started dating in February 2025. He asked me to dinner. I said yes. We've been together for 11 months now. He's kind, brilliant, and he's never once asked me to cook him dinner or clean his house. He has people for that. Because he values my time and my skills, not my ability to bind chicken. Today is January 2026. 1 year since the divorce. 1 year since I walked out of that courthouse and into that limousine. 1 year since Marcus realized the housewife he dismissed was worth more than he'd ever be. People ask me why I didn't fight for more in the divorce. Why I let Marcus keep the $2.3 million. Why I accepted $1,800 a month. Because I didn't need his money. I had my own. $168 million of my own. And I wanted him to think he'd won. I wanted him to celebrate, to brag, to tell everyone how he'd gotten everything and I'd gotten nothing. Because the look on his face when he found out the truth, when he realized the housewife was a CEO, when he understood that while he was making $2 million over 12 years, I'd made $168 million in 4 years. That was worth more than any divorce settlement. Some goodbyes don't need words. They need a black limousine, a billionaire business partner, and a $168 million bank account. I said nothing in that courtroom because I had nothing to prove to Marcus. I'd already proven everything to myself. I'd built a company from nothing. I'd coded through the night while he slept. I'd pitched to a billionaire and won. I'd earned every dollar in my account. Marcus got a house, some investments, and a bruised ego. I got freedom, a company, a career, and a future. Subscribe to this channel if you believe that silence is sometimes the most powerful statement. If you believe that the best revenge is success. If you believe that just a housewife is a myth. If you believe that what people don't know can hurt them, especially when they find out later. Comment below. Tell me where you're watching from. Tell me if you've ever been underestimated. Tell me if you've ever let someone think they won while you were building something bigger. Tell me your story. Share this video. Because somewhere right now, there's a woman being called just a housewife. There's someone being dismissed for not having a real job. There's someone building an empire in secret while their partner sleeps. They need to see this. They need to know that underestimation is fuel. That silence is strategy. That you don't need to correct people who are wrong about you. Just let them find out later. Marcus thought he'd won. He got the house. He got the investments. He got to walk out of that courthouse feeling like the victor. 2 minutes later, I got into a limousine with a billionaire. And Marcus realized he'd been playing checkers while I was playing chess. He didn't lose the divorce because I fought him. He lost because he never knew what game we were playing. And by the time he figured it out, I'd already won. Hit subscribe. Leave your comment. Share this story. And remember, when someone underestimates you, you have two choices. You can correct them, or you can let them find out when it's too late to matter. I chose the second option. I let Marcus think I was worthless. I let him think he was the successful one. I let him believe his own narrative. And then I drove away in a limousine worth more than his entire net worth. Some goodbyes don't need words. Mine needed a Mercedes-Maybach, a $168 million bank account, and the look on my ex-husband's face when he realized the housewife he dismissed was a CEO. That goodbye was perfect. Silent. Powerful. Complete. And I have no regrets. Not one. The housewife is dead. Long live the CEO. Marcus got $2.3 million. I got $168 million. He got a house. I got an empire. He got a girlfriend who left him. I got a partner who values me. He thought he won the divorce. I let him think that. For about 2 minutes. Then the limousine pulled up, and he realized the truth. By then, it was too late. The divorce was finalized. The papers were signed. I was free, and I drove away without saying a word. Because I didn't need to. My success said everything. Call me when you're worth $168 million, Marcus. We'll talk then. Until then, I have a company to run, a division to lead, a billionaire boyfriend to have dinner with, and you have a $1,800 monthly payment to make to the woman you thought was worthless. Enjoy. I know I will. Some goodbyes are loud. Some are tearful. Some are angry. Mine was silent, powerful, complete. I stepped into that limousine. The door closed. We drove away. And I never looked back. Because winners don't need to explain their wins. They just need to drive away in black limousines while the losers watch. And Marcus is still watching. Still trying to understand what happened. Still calling his lawyers asking if there's any way to get a piece of what I built. There isn't. There never was. I made sure of it. I built my empire legally, separately, perfectly. And when the moment came, I walked away with everything that mattered. My freedom, my company, my future, my worth. He can keep the house. I'll keep the $168 million. That's a trade I'm happy to make. Every single time. The housewife left the courthouse at 4:02 p.m. on January 15, 2025. The CEO got into the limousine at 4:04 p.m. 2 minutes. That's all it took for Marcus to realize he'd made the biggest mistake of his life. 2 minutes. That's all the time I needed to show him what he'd lost. 2 minutes. That's how long it took for silence to become the loudest statement I'd ever made. No words, no tears, no arguments, just a limousine, a billionaire, and a $168 million bank account. That's how you walk away from a marriage where you were underestimated. Not with anger, not with sadness, not with words, with a black Mercedes-Maybach. With a partnership, with power, with silence. The best goodbye I ever gave. And Marcus is still trying to figure out what hit him. I'll never tell him. Let him wonder. That's what he deserves. The judge signed the papers on January 15, 2025 at 3:47 p.m. in courtroom 12 of the King County Superior Court in Seattle. My husband, ex-husband, Marcus Bennett, sat across from me with his lawyer, smiling. He thought he'd won. He'd gotten the house, the cars, the investments we'd built together over 12 years. His lawyer had argued I contributed nothing to the marriage, that I was just a housewife, that I deserved nothing beyond basic alimony. The judge had agreed. Marcus got $2.3 million in assets. I got $1,800 a month for 3 years. He thought I was destroyed. Everyone in that courtroom, his lawyer, the stenographer, even my own lawyer, thought I'd lost everything. I said nothing. No tears. No arguments. No last words. I signed the papers, stood up, walked out of that courthouse at 4:02 p.m. And at 4:04 p.m., a black Mercedes-Maybach limousine pulled up to the curb. The driver opened the door. I stepped inside. Marcus was standing on the courthouse steps watching. His face went from smug to confused to horrified in about 5 seconds, because sitting in that limousine was Richard Zhang, CEO of Zhang Technologies, net worth $8.7 billion. My business partner. And as of that afternoon, my future. This is the story of how I let my husband think he'd won while I was building an empire he never knew existed. How I said nothing because silence is power. And how the housewife he dismissed walked away from that courthouse worth more than he'd ever be. My name is Catherine N. Bennett. I'm 38 years old. For 12 years, I was married to Marcus Bennett, a commercial real estate developer in Seattle. He was worth about $2.7 million when we divorced. He thought that made him rich. He had no idea what I was actually worth. Because for 5 years, while he thought I was just a housewife, I was building a tech company that would change everything. Let me start from the beginning so you understand how we got here. I met Marcus in 2011. I was 25, working as a software engineer at Microsoft. He was 29, starting his real estate development company. We met at a networking event, started dating, got married in June 2013. For the first 2 years, we both worked. I was at Microsoft making $120,000 a year. He was building his real estate business. We were equals, partners, happy. Then in 2015, Marcus's business took off. He made his first million. And everything changed. Catherine, I need you to quit your job. What? Why? I'm networking with high-level clients now. I need a wife who can host dinners, attend events, represent the family, not someone who's at an office all day coding. I love my job. I'm making enough for both of us. You don't need to work. Besides, when we have kids, you'll need to be home anyway. I resisted, but Marcus pushed, and in 2016, I quit Microsoft, became a housewife, hosted his business dinners, attended his networking events, smiled and nodded while men talked business and their wives talked about interior decorating. I hated it, but I loved Marcus, so I tried to make it work. By 2018, Marcus was worth about $1.5 million. His business was successful. He was proud of himself, and he started treating me differently. Catherine, did you bind the chicken? It's a little overdone. Jesus, you're home all day. The least you could do is cook properly. Oh, Catherine, why haven't you cleaned the garage? I didn't know you wanted. What do you do all day? You don't work. You don't have kids. You should have time to keep the house perfect. Or my favorite, you're lucky I'm successful. Otherwise, what value would you even bring to this marriage? By 2019, I realized Marcus didn't see me as a partner. He saw me as an employee, a housekeeper he didn't have to pay, a decoration for his social life. But I couldn't leave. I'd quit my job. I had no income. He paid for everything. I was financially dependent, trapped. So in 2020, I started planning my escape. Quietly, secretly, without Marcus ever knowing. I started coding again. At night, after Marcus was asleep. On the laptop he'd bought me that he thought I only used for Pinterest and online shopping. I built an app, a simple concept, AI-powered home automation that learns your routines and optimizes energy usage. Smart homes, but actually smart. Not just turn on the lights with your voice. Real machine learning, real optimization, real energy savings. I worked on it for 6 months. January to June 2020. Every night, 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. While Marcus slept, while he had no idea what I was doing. By July 2020, I had a prototype, and I needed funding. But I couldn't ask Marcus. He'd take it over. He'd make it his. He'd tell everyone it was his idea. So I reached out to an old colleague from Microsoft, David Park. He'd left to work at a venture capital firm. I asked him to coffee, showed him the prototype. Catherine, this is brilliant. How long have you been working on this? 6 months. Why didn't you tell me sooner? This could be huge. Let me introduce you to my partners. Within 2 weeks, I had a meeting with Zhang Technologies, a tech conglomerate specializing in AI and automation. Run by Richard Zhang, one of the wealthiest men in America, $8.7 billion net worth. I walked into that meeting in August 2020 terrified. I was a housewife pitching to a billionaire. I expected to be dismissed, laughed at, told to come back when I had a real business. Instead, Richard looked at my prototype and said, "This is exactly what we've been looking for. We've been trying to develop something like this for 2 years. You built it in 6 months. Alone." Yes. Impressive. Let's talk terms. We want to partner with you. You keep full ownership of the IP. We provide funding, infrastructure, and resources. We take 30% equity. You keep 70%. You run the company. We support you. I stated him. You want me to run the company. It's your idea. Your code. Why wouldn't you run it? I'm not. I don't have experience. You built this alone while your husband had no idea. You're resourceful. That's what matters.